Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another episode here on ESGNet, and this is the Highland Scotties Team Builder Series, and this is the Scotties Sports Talk here, as we're taking a quick review here, as this is episode 19 of the Scotties Sports Talk, and we're going to take a quick review of week 1 as we hosted our game, a very big game here, probably one of the biggest games of the year, besides the next one coming up here next week against Tennessee. Now, last year we played at Tennessee there in Knoxville, there on Rocky Top, and we won that one 49-35. So that was a really important game for us. You know, we're trying to get ourselves to play against teams to see exactly where we are. If you remember, a lot of the players were sophomores and freshmen. Now this year they're going to be juniors and sophomores. Of course, we do have a freshman class in here. We haven't seen any of those guys on the field just yet, but they'll get some time here. Right now you're taking a look at some of the highlights of that game here, but for the most part, Highland did a great job of playing in this game here. You'll see last year's game there were some times there was kind of rocky, and then no pun intended there, but kind of difficult for us, as you see there, K-Song getting the first touchdown of the day, rushing touchdown there. But yeah, we won that game on a drive that was really big for us last year, and we're able to win this one with our guys that we had. Now, for the most part here, a lot of the guys are still here from last year, with the exception of 3 individuals. We had 3 young men that end up transferring out of Highland and went on to go to other places for the simple purpose of just wanting playing time. So that was important for them, and we wish them all the luck. But now, with new guys here this season, we're trying to show them. We showed them that game tape there, or I should say, at least Coach Teddy Bonds did. Excuse me. Show them the game tape of that game and how there was all the things that went wrong. They want to try to avoid in this game here. I think for the most part they did, with the exception of the interceptions. Now, that was a big thing with us last year, as Flanagan still, and of course talking to Teddy Bonds there, he said it was because of nerves. It happens to every guy. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're a guy that's like a Tom Brady, or to the guy that's just going to be just riding the bench for the season. There's always nerves. There's always issues to deal with. So that is something of what they're trying to, you have the first game jitters there, as Flanagan did there, and you'll see here in some of the highlights here, some of the like that one right there, just a bad read there from him. I think he was trying to throw that one ahead of Little, instead of he threw that one behind him. As you see there, yeah. So, and then also the angle there was just not the good angle there to try to get the ball there to his receiver. So he should have found a different receiver, or if anything, get away. Try to run away, which has been an issue for him, because he did get sacked 5 times in the game. You'll see here. So that our offensive line there needs to help him out there too, to make sure he's not gonna have all the time in the world to get to be able to throw the ball, but giving them just a little bit more time than what they were doing in that game there would really help him out there, make some better decisions. And maybe he would have seen that and just said, okay, never mind, I'm just gonna go ahead and just run and get the first down by using my legs. So a lot of different things going on there, and of course everything's hindsight after the game. But I'm sure Coach Teddy Bonds and Alex will be looking at the game there afterwards here, and of course getting ready for next week's game against last year's big win that we got there in Georgia against the Bulldogs. And we'll talk about that here a little later on here in the episode. But that being said, we'll see that there you see at halftime, 14-10 going into the half there. And like I said, it was just a brutal game there for Flanagan there. As you see, the offensive line just crumbled for him for those first, I think it was like the first 2 series there for him. And then, we're able to get our act together there. Not a big blowout win. Wasn't really looking for a blowout win. We knew it was going to be a close. If anything, if we do get the win, it's going to be a close win. It's going to be a win that we're going to have to work really hard for. And that's exactly what we did. Flanagan, of course, him and his go-to guy, Cannon, had a great game as usual. And I think they're good combination there. Kind of like your Romo and your Witten there. Just great, good court. I mean, say great, I mean like the best of all, but just one of the great quarterbacks that are out there right now in NCAA, along with just a really talented tight end there. We've seen some great catches from last year. If you guys look at that, just go back and look at those episodes. There were some really great catches there, and even some great catches here in this one. I think we'll see one of them here pretty soon here towards the end of the game. But yeah, just a great 1-2 there. Of course, Little, Page, and Blair all stepping up here. They've did really well this year, or did really well last year, and have improved themselves here this year. As the only one that did not get a touchdown in this game was Page. That was the only one we couldn't get into the end zone there. But everybody else got a touchdown there, so that was really nice to see. Get those guys to be able to, Flanagan be able to kind of spread the ball around. But another thing I know, I just recently just looking at that video right there. One of the other things, Coach Teddy Ball was there talking to him in a quick little interview I had with him as he was kind of getting ready for this week's game against Georgia. One of the things he did say was that Flanagan needs to be more, go up the field here, not go all the way back, not try to run back. Or for him, that he wants to see Flanagan more run to the left side in certain situations than the right, because the right seems like it's always, he needs to remember what side of the hash marks he's on. If he's on the right hash mark, he needs to go to the left. If he's on the left, go to the right, because that's where your open field is. So that is something that they've been working on during practice, helping with that. And like I said, I know these things I've been seeing so far kind of negative here, but he's still, he's a junior quarterback. He had a breakout year last year, but he's still green in some areas in his game. So, him being here and just getting that, good tutelage, learning from a good coach like Coach Teddy Bonds and the quarterback coaches there, that's going to really help out. I know talking to the offensive line, or the offensive coordinator, Alan Lawrence, he said, hey, the kid got a great arm. He just needs to sometimes pull back the reins, and not try to go for a big play every single time. To get a big play, start small, get the small passes, and then when they least expect it, hey, boom, throw it over the top and go down the field. So don't always look for those big deep passes. Look for the short to intermediate ranges in passing, and then when they're least expected, just take it over the top, and boom, there you go. You got 6 points on the board. So that talking to Coach Allen, Coach Lawrence there, he was very insightful there about, and he said a lot of things. He's been working with the juggler machine with Cannon, because he said that Cannon, great hands there. He's definitely could be a guy that could be in the next year's draft. He could be a second to third round guy, if not a first round guy. Like a mid to late first round pick for them. And of course, I was kind of, when he opened that up, I was kind of like, hey, so you're saying that he's going to leave? He's like, no, not saying that he's going to leave the next season, but if he wanted to leave next season, that would be, he would be, depending on how if he continues doing well as he did last year, and then this first game, he has a good shot. So, and then after that, Coach Allen was Coach Lawrence was kind of like, okay, kind of done with talking about that. And so he don't want to really get into too much. One game at a time, at 1 week at a time there. And of course, not having Hunter Cannon there would be a big loss there for us. But we're not going to talk, like I said, not going to talk about that just yet. The season just started. Let's just have some fun with these guys now. But yeah, for the most part here, as you take a look here, Highland just did a great job there of just keeping a possession in between them and Tennessee. And then just were able to just go down here. We were able to, towards the end of the game there, like you see here with Hunter Cannon, with that great catch there, was able to run a lot of play action there. And that's something we're hoping that maybe we can do next week against Tennessee. But if I'm not mistaken, I think that was a game that we had a quit running play action. So I think next week we may hit them more with screen passes, and also just running it right to them, right up the gut at them. And so that means Kayson's going to be utilized a lot. Coach even said that the backups, which is, I believe, Cross, I think he's one of the backups there, will probably be utilized in some other formations, be in some of the plays, set plays there in the running aspect there to help them out in the running game there. They really want to kind of wear down Georgia and get them going. And kind of get them off kilter there. And then once they're worn down and just trying to chase after the halfbacks there, then they can start going deep and just start throwing bombs all over them on the field. But as you take a look here, normally here this is pretty much the last play of the game right here, as he throws that one right there. That's gonna be an interception there from Blanco, and and the Highland Scotties win this one of the final score of 38-24. So a really good game there. Yeah, of course, we don't want to give up that many points there. You don't want them making a possession. You don't want them within one of you in a possession. But hey, it was a good game there. It was basically whoever had the ball last was going to be able to get a hold of it and do with what they want with it, and then control the other team defensively there. And that's what we did there in that game. So big game there. Like I said, big game. Got that one out of the way. The first game is always the toughest one, but now it's going to even get tougher now, because we're going to have to get ready for the week 2 matchup here against Georgia. Now, if you guys remember from last season, that one was a tough game. Wasn't really expecting us to take that one there against Georgia. Georgia, the Bulldogs, of course, always got a great quarterbacks, and of course, great halfbacks. We played them back in week 11 and won 21-20 there in Athens. And we'll see some numbers here from this game here, but kind of give you guys an idea of that game from last season against Georgia. Rush was in that game. He was 18 of 32. He played majority of that game, if I'm not mistaken. I think Flanagan may have been taken out the first quarter, maybe going to the second quarter. So Rush had to take over in that game. 18 of 34, 280 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. Kayson, 25 attempts with 69 yards, 2 touchdowns. Rush on the ground had 9 attempts, so 23 yards. Hunter Cannon, he had 8 catches, but for for 158 yards. Page, 3 receptions, 46 yards, and Little had 3 receptions, 31 yards for that game last year against Georgia. So that's going to be a big thing for us, is we got to put up some numbers there. We got to get our guys, if we're in the red zone there, we got to get them in the red zone there. We got to get some passes there, not to mention protect the ball. I know talking to Flanagan about this game, he said that he was amped up. He got taken out of the game. He was really looking forward to that game against Georgia, but when they pushed him out of the game and he wasn't able to come back over a mild concussion. Of course, Coach Teddy Bonds, he is all about making sure the player is taken care of, and with concussions, Coach Teddy Bonds does not take that lightly at all. He is very serious about those kind of issues there, and he had his medical staff tell, he has a medical staff basically in security, basically just take his players off the field and put them back in the, have them sit in the locker room for the remainder of the game, because if they have a concussion, they can do the concussion baseline test, concussion test there, but just for the sake of just not, just not putting the young man into harm's way. He wants them to be removed and be put, have to dress out and put their street clothes back on and watch the game for the sideline there. So, Coach Tabon is one of those few coaches there that, he wants to win just as bad as everybody else does, if not more. But it's not worth, looking for getting a win and having one of your fellow, players down, and hurting. So that is something he takes, very seriousness with, and we have to say that's a great coach. That's an awesome coach to do that. To put the student athletes' health, in the forefront, than worry about a game. So take a look here at the week 1 games there. You guys can pause the video, check those out, who won and who lost there. Georgia got the big win there against Ole Miss there, 35-18. So we know they can score 30, but we're going to try to see if we can stop them and kind of slow them down there against us next week. K-State beat Washington State 48-14. Some other scores there. Washington beat Hawaii 38-10. And then take a look here at just the rest of the NCAA. I believe that was the top 25 we showed there, but this is the rest of both top 25 and all the games that were played last week and week 1. So not too many big upsets there. Got a lot of rivalry games there this past week. Of course, the SEC this year playing a lot of their games, conference games early. They're starting in week 1 instead of like other conferences starting in week 4 or so. They're starting right there in week 1. So a lot of games are going to be really important in that conference there for them. And of course, we're still independent. Just take a look. Alabama won last week, so won against West Virginia. They're 42-33. So it was a good game there. But West Virginia able to keeping pace with them, but unfortunately just not enough. Highland, there you see us, and we're taking on Georgia. Auburn has not played yet. Louisville has not played yet. There's a few schools there that haven't played just quite yet. Took a bye week this first week, but they'll be in action for the most part there next week. Our first bye week, it doesn't come up until week 5. And I kind of did that for the simple fact if we have 4 games to play and then have 1 week off, before the first set of games, or before we get to the second set of games for the season, the second set of 4 there. Just take a look there at the rest of the top 25 coaches poll there. Like I said, a lot of teams did not play this week, but they will play next week. You see Penn State got a big win there, 55-20 against Temple, and then Arizona there at number 25. And no one dropped. No one got dropped out of the top 25 there. Of course, other teams got some votes. South Carolina, Colorado, Utah, TCU, Pittsburgh, Miami, and North Carolina there all got some votes there to be on the top 25. As for the Heisman watch, well, I know it's too early to say, but just kind of give you guys an idea of where everybody's at there wise. I believe only 2 of the 5 guys played last week there, so not too much there. Okay, never mind. 3 of the 5 guys played last week there. So NCAA Players of the Week here in Week 1. There you see Sean Burgess Becker Jr. redshirt from UCF, and Sam Darnold there. Of course, now he's in real life. He's in Major League or in the NFL, playing for the Jets, but he's the Player of the Week there for offense, defense, or then off the independence there level. There you see the juniors, Troy Warner of UAB, and also Squarley, Canada. That's a weird name. Redshirt senior there from BYU, the halfback there, had a great game, and he is your player of the. Both of them are your players of the week for the Independents. As for us, now we're going to finally get to talk about Georgia. We've been mentioning them throughout this episode here, but it is going to be a big game. It's a very important game for us. They're ranked number 16th in the nation. If they get a victory off of us, this is going to kind of pull us down some here, but we don't want to think about that. We want to sit here and we want to make sure we don't have the fiasco that we had last season, where we wasn't able to get down the field too often. We only had only one passing touchdown there in that game, and I believe now as I think about it, I think it was just Canada that got the touchdown pass, but the other two touchdowns we got were on the ground. So our ground game's good. We didn't, we went over 50, but it's gonna be a tough game. They're gonna be watching us. They got some good players there on the defensive side and offensive side. You see Easton there. You see 34 of 14, or I should say 14 of 30, 14 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception there for him so far for this season. Let's take a look at his numbers there from last week. And we'll see a Swift there, the rusher there, against Ole Miss. There you see the numbers there from them in that game. They had 22 first downs, 249 yards rushing. They had 1 interception, and let's see, turnover wise, well, they gave up 2 turnovers there. Red zone, they were 4 for 4, so they were excellent in the red zone there. So I'm kind of a little nervous about that. If they get into the red zone there, they're pretty much legit. Guarantee a score there by the looks of it here. But there you take a look at the numbers there, rushing for last week, 105 there for Swift. And of course, that's always in our game plan to stop the running game, not just from the halfback there, but also the quarterback, because Easton had 2 rushing touchdowns there last week. So kind of keep him in check, make sure we keep him in the pocket, and then also apply pressure when needed. So kind of, go come at him, go, back off kind of mentality there in that game. He has a really strong arm, if I'm not mistaken, from last year. So if need be, if he needs to throw down the field, he will throw down the field and connect with his receivers. Trenton Thompson, a great defensive end there. He had a great, like I said, last year we wasn't able to get the running game off as much as we wanted to. I think overall, we got close to maybe 80 yards rushing on the ground, but he is one of those great defensive tackles or defensive ends there that would, if we get around him, if we don't get around him quick enough, he will take us down. Smith, another great guy there. As you take a look there, excellent play recognition there. Pursuit is top notch. He has great speed there for a middle linebacker. And then take a look at the rest of his numbers there. And he's definitely a guy that he'll be swarming around the field there and doing what he needs to do there. Great hit power there, and not to mention just overall just great talent. Ledbetter. There you see his numbers there. Another defensive end that can do some harm to us there on the right side. So we don't, if we get lucky, not get snatched up by the left end, then we have to worry about the right end there. Plus, too, he's a great pass rusher, so he can break up plays too. And then we'll take a look at some of the offensive players there. that we just of course tight ends in NCAA are always tricky. They're always maneuvering around just like ours is. And then you see there's 6'4", 249-pound junior there for them for Tennessee, or for Georgia. Great guy there, great run blocking, and it's a pretty decent pass blocking there. But his catching traffic's great. His route running is also very good. Terry Goodwin, the senior, he wants to go out on a splash there. Just take a look at his numbers there. Great catch, great route running, decent catch and run routing and stuff like that, and catching traffic. So yeah, some great numbers there. And like I said, one of the guys we have to watch it for. And then there you see Jake Fromm, the sophomore, who it has a good number there, but Easton, if I'm not mistaken, I think he will be the starter. But Fromm, he could be a start guy that could start next week here. He's the sophomore that they have right now. That's been a lot of talk about him playing. But if not, Easton could be the guy that will have, since he had a hot hand last week. I'm assuming that will be the case coming up for this week's game there in Georgia. So there you see number 16 Georgia taking them on. They're 1-0 as we are 1-0. So the battle of the 1-0s going at it here. And of course, Georgia would love to get revenge on us after last year we traveled down to Athens and defeat them at their house by 1 point. Can we do somewhat of the same thing here again? Hopefully we can pull away and get a 1 or 2 possession lead on them in this game. But yeah, it's gonna be a tough game here, so stay tuned for that here on the channel. So that's it for this episode of the Highland Scotties Sports Talk here, and we'll see how things go here coming up in week 2. But if you guys enjoyed today's video, please leave a like. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed. Hit that sub button. Also, don't forget to hit that bell notification so you guys can be notified when the latest videos of this series or any other series here on the channel is uploaded to the channel. Not to mention, follow us on social media, get the latest news and events on what's going on here on the channel, and of course what's going on in this series and what's going on in the world of sports and in sports gaming here on ESGNet. So follow us there on Facebook, Twitter, and Discord. That's it for me, you guys. As always, keep yourselves each other healthy, and I hope to see you guys next time.